The celebration has died down a little bit here at Jackie O's because it is getting late, but there's still much excitement over the defeat of Issue 2.
With school districts in southeastern Ohio often having limited funding, school officials know that it's important to make every penny and every dollar count when it comes to providing the best education possible for their students.
Last year, nearly 1 in 10 babies in Scioto County were born addicted to prescription pills, but the problem is all over the state as well. Last year in Ohio, accidental deaths from prescription pills, which you can get at this clinic behind me, nearly quadrupled, and in 2007, they surpassed car crashes as the leading cause of accidental deaths in the state. School officials stressed that higher education, although it doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-year college experience like coming here to OU, can be achieved. But what better way to make your point than to be the example? Well, being the local example is a great way to start. Athens police responded to a call at 146 Grosvenor Street around 3 this morning for Yara Mashmore. A friend found the junior psychology major unresponsive. Junior Eric Schmitz lives next door to Mashmore.
I woke up, I thought I heard a noise or something, like someone knocking on my door or something like that. So I immediately woke up, saw there was a cop car sitting in the street right out here, lights flashing and everything. So I went out on my porch and just tried to see what was going on. You know, it's not often we get cop cars up on the street.
Schmidt says he wasn't initially concerned when he saw his neighbor being taken away in an ambulance.
And I saw they took her out. I mean, I didn't know anything was wrong at the time. I figured, you know, maybe she just passed out or...
Mashmore was pronounced dead at O'Bleness Memorial Hospital a short time later. No cause of death has been determined yet, but police say they aren't concerned about the public being in danger.
There's no public safety concern at this point, but we're not discounting any possibilities. Right now, it doesn't appear that there's anything, any foul play, but we're not discounting that as a possibility.
Even though he didn't know Mashmore very well, Schmidt says this entire event has made him stop and think.
I mean, you're reminded of your own mortality, really. I mean, as a college student, I mean, we all think we're, you know, cliche, we're all invincible, but not in this case.
Alyssa Hansen, WOUB News. Portsmouth is located in the heart of Scioto County. Situated on the banks of the Ohio River, it was a source of industrial production in the past. More recently, the county and city have become known for another reason. The highest rates of prescription drug overdoses in the state are in Scioto County. Marty Danini has been the sheriff of Scioto County for 14 years.
A lot of people have been affected by it. A lot.
And it's not just one group, it's everybody.
Yep. Yeah, there's no boundaries. It's really bogged us down in law enforcement. And there's just so much you can do.
Even if someone hasn't been personally affected by this problem, they most likely know someone who has. Leanne Furman says she's been fortunate enough to not experience the loss of a family member or friend from a prescription drug overdose, but she knows others who have not been so lucky.
I have seen some families, and it's a terrible situation for them. It happens to normal, everyday people who happen to just get hooked on pain medicines, not necessarily the heavy street drugs that you would typically consider the drug problem being focused on.
The effects of the prescription drug overdose epidemic have been felt throughout the county and state. For 6 years, Mark Kuhn has been working convicting criminals as the Scioto County prosecutor. He says addicts spend a considerable amount of time engaging in crimes that are linked to their dependence on pills.
By the time I see people through felony court, typically they're so hooked on the drugs they've been doing that a while. Now, certainly there's some of our crime that's not drug related, although we think a large percentage of it is drug driven.
For some in Scioto County, addiction starts even before they take their first breaths. Last year, nearly 1 in 10 babies in Scioto County were born addicted to prescription pills, but the problem is all over the state as well. Last year in Ohio, accidental deaths from prescription pills, which you can get at this clinic behind me, nearly quadrupled, and in 2007, they surpassed car crashes as the leading cause of accidental deaths in the state. Local and state law enforcement agencies have been trying to come up with tactics to fight the availability of prescription pills. The Columbus Dispatch published an article on May 9th stating that the legislation eliminating pill mills that dispense large amounts of these medications have skyrocketed to the top of state lawmakers' agendas. In Scioto County, pharmacies and doctors are working together to combat the problem.
Some of the success that we've had here lately in the last several years, is our local pharmacies won't fill these scripts. You know, and some of them have been tripping to Columbus to get them filled.
Even though this is a step toward fixing the problem, others believe national action is needed.
And unfortunately, until we change some of those laws and we get some, perhaps some infrastructure in place on a national level, we're going to be nibbling around the edges of this problem.
Officials believe the community plays a vital role in eliminating the pain of the prescription drug problem. On April 29th, the Lawrence-Scioto County Solid Waste Management District held a pharmaceutical collection event. Portsmouth residents were encouraged to bring their old, unused prescription drugs to the drop-off instead of flushing them, which actually releases the chemicals from the drugs into the water supply. On a smaller scale, just acknowledging the problem and discussing ways to combat it are powerful.
I think talking about it is a major step in the right direction. And there's a lot, we have a very big religious faith-based organizations in our county and this part of the world also.
Authorities say once the stigmas surrounding the problem have been put aside, solutions can start to make their marks in this county and throughout the state. Reporting for WOUB News, I'm Alyssa Hansen.